So you were just saying you have been married for how long?
24 years.
And your lovely wife's name
Is Cheryl.
Cheryl. And you've had this business here?
I had this business since '86, and pretty much this is my third business. I started very young, 18, running my own business.
Where was that first business?
On Barone Street, about 2 blocks away.
Okay.
And it was a business. It was named Hobnobbers, and my mother and father were in the business, and they opened up a bigger place 2 blocks away and kind of gave me the little store to run when I was 18. I did that for a couple of years, and they didn't tell me the lease was bad, and I didn't know what leases were back then when I was 18, but I shut it down, and then I went back to work for them, and then I found out they had too many chiefs and not enough Indians when I was running that place, and I kind of went, and I knew how to do it, running the store by myself for a few years. I knew what I was doing, and so I bought my own place on Dauphine Street when I was 22,
wow.
1980, 83, 84, something like that, and I was there for about a year and a half, and it was running good, and a guy came offered me 3 times what I paid for it, and I took it, and I kind of didn't like the French Quarter, to be honest with you, and I went back to work for my mom and dad, and then this place came available in '85, and my brother was running it at the time, and but he couldn't make it work or whatever, and I came and ran it. He knew I had some money because I just sold my other business. And I came and ran it. I told him, let me come run it for a week and I'll let you know if I want to buy it. And I did. And I bought this place for $25,000 back in, just the business, not the building at that time. And I've been here ever since and remodeled it a little bit from what it was, and was doing fine. And then Katrina hit.
So yeah, you were telling us a little while ago about Katrina. So when Katrina hit, you evacuated.
I evacuated. I went to Greenville, Mississippi, the cotton capital of Mississippi, in a hotel where I had 14 other people with me, and I was the chef, and I took my grill with me and my ice chest full of food, and I cooked food in the hotel room with a grill for about 14 people. Every morning we would make omelets and stuff in the room to save money.
Now these 14 people were relatives?
They were my family and another family that lived 2 blocks from me, Vincent DiCarlo. Their kids were the same age as my kids, 2 boys. And so we took off and went to Greenville, Mississippi. And the storm hit. We knew it was bad. And I kind of watched it on CNN. I saw my place on TV. And I was horrified, because the place was, the National Guard was in here. And what else? And then I was horrified, and these people here. And
sorry, if you want to regather your thoughts.
Yeah. And then I saw my place on TV and I thought it was over with. How am I going to rebuild my business? My employees are gone.
What made you wonder if it was over with?
Well, I just I don't know. There wasn't nobody to feed. Everybody left, for one thing. Then I had all the employees left. I didn't know what I was come back to, as far as how I was going to rebuild the place.
How soon were you able to get back?
I was here 4 days. I was here I think Katrina hit on Monday, something like that. And I was back on Thursday.
And how did you get back here?
And for me to get back, I lived in Slidell. I had to drive, take 12 to Causeway, take Causeway south to I-10, take I-10 to Booty, go over the Booty Bridge, and take 190 to Westwego, come over the Greater New Orleans and get to my restaurant in New Orleans. It took me 3.5 hours to get here. And when I got here, and I came here with a friend of mine, Charlie Pavor, and me and Charlie were in 1st grade together. The only friend in the world would come with me. And we packed our guns, because we didn't know what we expect. Somebody jump in our truck and steal a truck, and me and him pulled out the freezers and just stuff that was smelling, you know, and all the freezers were full of maggots, and you know, it's just the nastiest thing I've ever seen, you know. But the water had dissipated. The water went down, but they had this slime on the floor. It wasn't just water; it was gasoline, sewer, and water all mixed together. It was horrible, and the smell, you know. And we pushed everything out to the street. We never had no power, so we had to come here with flashlights and do this. And it was very dark, you know. And we got everything out that we needed to get out, and then we went back home. And I never came back here till we had power, and that was about a month and a half, I think 2 months. We never had power. In the meantime, we had a family to feed, so we started gutting out houses, me and my friend Charlie, and we started. We were charging like $1.75 a foot, and we were doing these houses across the lake that was 6,000 square feet. So we were making some pretty good money, you know. But it all kind of cleared out after about a month and a half of doing it. They never had no more houses to do, and then we started building fences. I'm telling you, we started building fences. We were pretty handy with our hands, you know. We knew how to do everything. So we started building fences for about another month, and then the power came on, and I was sick of construction. I was sick of building fences. I was ready to come back and cook. You know, that's what I did in my whole life, was cook, and. So I got back and got a game plan and bought tools that I didn't have, that I needed to build the place back. I came in here with my wife and my two boys. I think my kids were 9 and 10 at the time. And we had to scrape the floors out of here because they were buckled. All the floors were all buckled. And me and my wife and my 2 kids scraped all the floors out. And then we found out that they had 8 other floors underneath the floor that we had. Because we wanted to put tile back down, we had to go to the original floor. And that was hell. But we got that done. Then we hired a tile man to come tile the floor. And we started gutting, building all the walls back, which I did. I hired a little Mexican guy to help me, and ordered all new equipment. In 3 months, I opened back up, and I had my cook back, and one of my girls that worked the line that came back. And then I never had no other help. I had to hire people I didn't know. So someone told me about this place at the Commonwealth Center. It was in the 9th Ward. And I went there and got like 4 or 5 guys that could dishwash, just make deliveries. And we bought some bicycles they didn't have, and opened up. And we did incredibly busy. We were busy for about 2 years. And then people started leaving the hotels. All these people we were feeding were in the hotels getting FEMA money, and so they had money to spend on food, and they wanted some home-cooked food instead of pizza or something or MREs, which everybody was eating for a while, and those are horrible. I ate them for a month. But and then things got slow again, and then the Saints won. Well, Saints came back and, man, just won the Super Bowl, and we made a lot of money then, and it just looks like the Saints put the New Orleans back on the map for sure, for its tourism. And and then in 2009, this building I'm in came up for sale, and I bought the building, and then I started remodeling all the building itself. I had 17,000 square feet. And I made them all apartments, 12 apartments. I got that all finished. It took me about 3 years to get it all done. And then we lived in Slidell. And both my kids, during this time, I got one of them in LSU. He's a senior. He'll be a senior this year to be a CPA. And my other son's at ITI in instrumentation, getting his degree. So we were kind of empty nest in the house. You know, he had this big house across the lake on an acre. So we got it up for sale right now. We moved into the building. So we live here now. And it's easy to take care of the restaurant in the building. And it's been good ever since. What else you want to ask me in between?
Did you live in Slidell before
Katrina? Yes, I was in Katrina across the lake, so I really couldn't get here anyway if I needed to. And that's one thing I never did, like living across the lake with my business here. I couldn't watch it right. You know, at 2:30 I had to get home because the wife and kids were home. You know, every day they had football practice or something, but I made it work.
So what are most of your customers? Who do you think? What's
Most of my customers today
Yeah.
are pretty much the hotel business, the valet parking, the people with the housekeeping, the front desk of the hotels. It's really not a tourist trap. I feed the same people every day, and my menu changes every day, so they don't have to eat the same thing. But the tourist is just an extra for me. But it's mostly office buildings, hotel business, and that's what it is.
And so what do you were born and raised in New Orleans?
I was born and raised in New Orleans.
So you've got a long history with this town.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts about New Orleans now versus when you were
Well, it's definitely a cleaner city. Katrina knocked down the old buildings that need to be knocked down anyway. Got rid of all the garbage, trash, things that were falling down, fell down. So everything was rebuilt new. And it's definitely a better city for it now. For me too. I mean, my place was, I had the floors wasn't right. I needed to clean this place up before Katrina, and it made me do it. Be honest with you. And I put walk-in freezer I never had before, and made the place better. And I think there's definitely more people they have here now than before Katrina.
What about the composition of the people? You know, there were these predictions post-Katrina that the culture in New Orleans and the people that make
I mean, if you lived in New Orleans and lived here all your life, there's no other place to live. You know, for us, the food, the cuisine of New Orleans, the wildlife. I'm a big hunter and fisherman. You know, I love to hunt. It's 2 hours away. I love to fish. It's here, and there's no getting it out my blood. You know, as far as the sportsmanship of New Orleans. So, as far as that, we're very resilient for us coming back to what we love to do. And there's really the only thing. I mean, I could do a few other things, but my passion is food, and the feeding people is what I really love to do. I love to feed people, really, and make them happy. That's what I like to do.
And you said right after Katrina, the folks that had been working with you before were not around. Have any of them come back?
Yes. And one of my employees that's not here today, I sent him home a little early because he wanted to go do something. Had a long story he could have told y'all. You come back and do this. He went to Nebraska. He got pushed off on a bus to Nebraska, and he opened up a place in Nebraska called Taste of New Orleans. But I gotta let you tell him the story of that, because it's really, there's only one person that could tell it, it's him. His name is Donald, and he's got a story. And they gave him a whole restaurant to run up there, and I think after, a year and a half, they gave him a truck and they sent him back home. I don't know why, but I have him back here now. So he's been with me 25 years or so, and pretty much most of my employees have been with me 20 to 25 years, all of them.
So a lot of their stories, they came back as soon as they could, or
they definitely all miss New Orleans. You know, for us. Just so many things we get here that you can't get anywhere else. For us, French bread, po' boy bread. For one thing, most certainly is po' boy bread. You can't get it nowhere but New Orleans.
Now, do you make your own? Do you buy it?
No, we get it from Leinheimer.
Leinheimer.
And some of the best French bread in New Orleans. Seafood. My goodness, you can't get seafood, fresh crab meat, fresh shrimp, fresh crawfish tails, fresh oysters. You can't get it nowhere else. And crawfish season is taking off right now, and that's one thing we miss mostly. I'm on the phone this morning with my brother. We're having a crawfish bowl Sunday. That's one thing we really do a lot of. But there's the gumbo, stuff like that, red beans and rice. Up north, you just can't go in the store and buy red kidney beans to make it, and they don't have it. So there's a lot of things here that we accustomed to from living here that you can't do nowhere else. And we love New Orleans for it, really. So I must
Is there
say.
anything you would want people to know about New Orleans? You know, you said a lot of the people that you serve daily are not the tourists.
Oh yeah, these are just great New Orleans people that, you know, they work and live in New Orleans. And for us, the city today, it's going to be a New York City. People are going to live where they work. They got 50,000 condos being built every year, right now as we speak. Being built right now, and they're going to be finished in the next 1 or 2 years. So you can have a tremendous amount of people living here than they did before. It was all office buildings before. Now it's all residential. That's why my bar's picking up every day. It's a neighborhood bar, and the food, pretty much the food too. People living where they work. They're getting rid of automobiles because of the gas. Just the, you know, the hectic part of living, traveling back and forth from across the lake, 3 hours on the road, commuting to work. You know, I did it since '92, and I guess I don't regret it because my kids went to good schools and stuff like that, free. But I love where I'm at now. So
what are your boys going to do? Are they going to live in New Orleans? Or are they going to move?
my son's going to live in New Orleans. One of my sons that's going to be a senior at LSU just got an internship. I'm very proud of him. He's a 4.0 student. He needs to be a CPA, and he was drafted #1 out of LSU's class to get this internship. And my other son's going to be in instrumentation. He's a read instruments on rigs or in plants and stuff. So they don't want to leave. Oh no. So he's based out of Metairie. Either be June 1st he starts his job in Metairie. It's only 15 minutes from here, and he's still going to live here. I have an apartment for him here. So he lives right across the hallway from me and my wife. And so I don't know how it's going to happen when they get married. But pretty interesting, you know, how my kids don't do. I don't know. That sometimes they want to do what I do, but then again, I didn't want them to do what I did because to me, it's really hard work. You got to have a certain kind of skin to do what I do. You know, 3:30 in the morning, dealing with the stress of, you know, this employee's not showing up for work. You know, just the ins and outs of running this business is rough. You know, and you got to be growing up in it. And I had them here working. Both of them I had working as young kids in here working. And boy, did I show them that you want to do this. This is what you're gonna have to do. Clean dishes. You know, you don't have just, you know, you just run the register. You got to wash the pots some days, and Monday night when it show up. You know, or you got to fix everything. You know how to fix everything. And so they went off to school, and I'm glad they did though. But one day they might want to do this. I don't know. They don't realize yet what I have here. That's the thing. You know, they go to school and all that, but they don't understand yet. They own a building, a part of New Orleans. They own a piece of this property in New Orleans. It's huge right now, you know. And I don't have much longer to pay on it either. So a lot of apartments, a lot of business, you know. So I don't know what they want to do. Well, I'm not ready to give it up right now anyway. I'm only 52. I got a lot of time.
So I think we're winding down here, but
okay.
This is usually the point where I let anyone who's
anybody
on the
ask me
crew
anything?
who has questions, you know, something you said that may strike a question, or if they
And another thing I said earlier, it brought me to tears, was I guess before I bought the building, I don't know if it has anything to do with God or what, but I've been here paying rent for 25 years, and it seems like it took me to find God and to give, and then 6 months later, I'm sitting here, instead of paying rent, I own the building. And I don't know if it had a lot to do with that, but it's very coincidental that it happened that way. I don't know. But you know, I started giving to the church and started tithing and stuff like that. And
What made you start giving to the church?
well, things weren't going that great at the time. You know, really, business was kind of down. I never had control of nothing. I had employees that were stealing from me in the bar. You know, I had a lot of problems, and I tell you, and ever since I went to this church and found myself, gave myself up to God, and I don't know, it just turned around like just did a 360 turnaround. And look where I'm at today. You know, I own a building that's worth $4.5 million. I just can't believe it. Just giving a little bit to the church to rebuild the new church. You know, and I don't know. I did a testimony at the church for it too. And they made me do it. I couldn't believe what happened myself, you know. But a lot of hard work, you know. This place, I've been here, what, 20-something years, and there's not a day I took off work yet. As far as being sick, never been sick, thank God. Never missed a day's work all these years. So, just fortunate. I got my health to do this kind of work, you know, because it ain't easy, you know, in the mornings. Oh my gosh, right. 50-pound pots of potatoes swinging around all day long, and you know, just cooking. But
yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, you know what? Even on my days off, though, you know, it's just I'm up early. You know, it's just crazy.
You can't help it.
You're right.
Part of your routine.
Yeah, it's my routine.
So anybody have any questions?
I mean, I guess, do you think of your business as kind of as an institution, as being part of the city? Because you really are a piece.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you just look on Yelp or TripAdvisors, and just a lady came in from Zatarans yesterday, and she said she went through 300 or 400 restaurants, and they picked me #1 to go put that little sign on my door to give me $100 for having it up there for 4 weeks, because the reviews I get on all the Yelp and TripAdvisor, I get, man, like a 4.5 star, you know, 5 star on there, and
yeah, we saw your reviews. We were like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like, we knew
you know, it's just the food. The food's got to be right, you know, no doubt about it. Rotated. It's just so many things of, I don't know how people do it. It's, you know, if I see a lot of restaurants running and the owner's not there, who's giving that care, you know, of going through the stuff you got to go through to make it right. You know, that.
I got another question for you.
Yeah.
When we walked in, your wife Cheryl was sitting there.
Yes.
So what role does she play in
Oh my gosh, I couldn't do it without her. No way. I wouldn't want to, put it that way. She handles, for one thing, she started the Go business. I do a takeout business on the phone with bicycles. And I do from 60 to 100 deliveries a day. And she started that, the delivery business out the back. But as far as running this building, the taxes, all the licenses, liquor license, occupational license, the insurances are just incredible to keep up with. Insurance, collecting the rent from all the tenants, make sure everything's fixed, paying all, like, you know, 4 or 5 electric bills I gotta keep up with, paying online, you know, the phone bills, all the DirecTV stuff. I couldn't do it. I don't know how she does it. Putting all the taxes for all my employees, getting a check in, she's got to put in the computer every day of what they make in tips to send to the IRS, so they paying taxes on tips. And it's a full-time job. And then she answers my phone, because I like her on the phone, because she's pretty professional on the phone, and she makes sure it's right. And then she comes down here and organizes the whole kitchen in the back, make sure everything's put where it's supposed to be, making sure we right for Board of Health inspections and stuff, you know, making sure everything's rotated, labeled, and she's the one for that. I mean, she's from New Jersey. She's not from here. And that's another story, how I met her. You know, it's in '84, doing the World's Fair. Yeah, she came in the restaurant I had on Baron Street when I first started out. I was like 18 running the store, and she came in, And then her and her dad came in because he was a nuclear consultant, and then they went back to New Jersey, and then he got the job, so he came back I think 2 years later, and she looked me up on my new restaurant I had on Dauphine Street, and she called me up for a blind date. And I said, no, I don't go on blind dates. And she said, kill me for this. This is a true story. And I said, well, you tell me what you're gonna wear, and you know what I look like. I said, if I like what I see, I'm coming to talk to you. And she told me she was wearing a red blouse with black polka dots. And she still said, I didn't say polka dots. I said, yes, you did. But that's how we met in a nightclub, and I liked what I saw, and I want to talk to her. And we've been, inseparable ever since, really. But yeah, this wouldn't work without two that's married to the business. You got to be together. To do what I do here, it takes two people to do it. There ain't no way. I wouldn't try to do this without her. I put it up for sale if everything had happened to her, and just run my building. And a lot of times we think about that. You know what? We might be, if we sold the place, the restaurant, bar, and collected another $5,000 a month rent. Why are we working so hard? But there's a lot more to that, I guess. Is the people. We do it, for the friends and people that come here. God, for Mardi Gras, there's people all over the world that come here to eat and just to come to the bar and talk and drink, and they don't have to go in the quarter to get it here. Quarter's not as personable as right off the beat. And it's true. And the prices are, you get way more for your buck here than you go over there. I promise you that. But.
So how many people do you actually have working in the restaurant?
I would say 13 employees. 13 and five or six bartenders every now and then. His bar's open 7 days a week, 2 shifts a day. Restaurant's open 6 days a week. And but it's hard, 6 days a week, I'm here. The only time I get off a little bit is during hunting season. My wife runs it on Saturday, and I take off on Friday and come back Sunday. But that's it. And the vacations, we're having a fight about that right now, because we don't go on vacation. So I think in September or something, we're gonna close for a week. Sometimes my mom's still living, and she's still very able to run the business. Well, really taught me everything. And she runs it for me for 2 or 3 days if I have to go somewhere, But after that, after 2 or 3 days, I can cook for that many days. But after that, I got to get back. The whole place is going to fall down, believe me. Who's going to cook the food? As far as what I cook, there's so many things that are cooking that it's just so hard to teach, from what I do. Casseroles and stuff. You got to be brought into this. I've been doing this for 30 years. You just don't learn it, overnight. Because then you start teaching somebody, and it seems like after I teach them, a month down the road, they're trying to do what they want to do, It's just not what I taught you, man. And so I've been through that. But it's all good. Everything's good. I'm happy now. I think it's getting easier for me, because since I live here, really, it's a lot easier for me. Because if I get into these big catering jobs and getting too real busy, I can come down at night. See, I'm closed at 2, so at night I can come get myself together back here in the kitchen. If I gotta make an extra 200 crab cakes or something like that, I can come do it. And it's no big deal of getting in a car and driving an hour and a half away home. That's what killed me. Oh my gosh. And I was getting up at 2:30 in the morning to stop and get gas and coffee or whatever, and drive in. And hopefully it wasn't raining real hard or a fog,
So we're about done.
Okay.
But, I know. Stories keep going.
Yeah.
If there was something you wanted people to know about New Orleans now, you just like in a nutshell, if there's something you wanted them to know, what would it be?
Oh gosh, it's a great place to come eat and just forget about your problems and come in and just have a good time. I mean, you can walk down the street with a beer or a drink and just, enjoy the music and go do some fine dining, because there's a lot of it in New Orleans, I think. It's a great place to be. and the weather's always nice. It really is. Huh? Is the weather nice right now? What? You know, then looking at the news of up north, what they dealing with. I don't know how they dealing with that 6 feet of snow, shoveling out your front door. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. I always think about how these people make money, you know? If you're tied in inside, or, you know, you can't do too much. So, I don't know. My point of view of that.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Paul.
thank y'all.